Hello, Internet, and welcome to another varied episode of Various Fields. How y'all doing today?
Hope you all are doing good. Think we're doing good.
Hi.
All right.
I believe today we were actually talking about superheroes today.
Yeah. I brought a comic book. It's called Nightwing. It's Nightwing Get Grayson, by Tom Taylor. That's the writer. So the idea for the topic is that I like to say we're all nerds. In a non-offensive way, whatever you mean. We like superheroes. We're passionate about superheroes. I feel introduced by my pops, introduced by dad because he had comics when we were younger. And my whole personality, if I really be honest, has a lot to do with superheroes. If I could jump into the Marvel, DC, Image Comics universe and be like, even if I didn't have a superpower, like if I would just kind of, this may be chaotic, but if I just walked in, I was one of the random people, and you see Venom come out of nowhere.
Right.
It'd be entertaining, scary, but kind of fun.
So you're saying to be drawn in a Marvel comic?
No,
That too. I'm saying if I could be in the
he
if I
wants
could
to
live.
he wants to blue skidoo into a Marvel.
Superpowers are fun. I'm not saying it's
are.
not dangerous. It could be a completely different thing. But instead of a tornado, you get a Venom. It is a different kind of.
Right.
You know?
All
But
right, I got
you have the 1 in 1 million chance of either landing in a hospital or getting a superpower. I think you would kind of want to take that risk, you know?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I think everybody, I don't care who you are, there's that moment in time if you're at the office, any place, you say, man, if I wish I had the power of blank.
Right.
And so in some way, everybody that's out there, we can relate with, and that's why I believe the superhero movies and comics are so popular now, because everybody has their inner origin story that I believe they wish they could actually have come to pass. Thoughts? Can
I throw a question out there?
Please.
So this is a question that Trey, if you remember, right? We do this all the time. We came up with years ago, I think, in college. One of my favorite questions. I use
An
it
icebreaker question.
I use it
right?
as an icebreaker, opener, all that type of stuff. But it's
Okay.
because I'm a nerd and genuinely curious.
Okay.
The question goes, and please answer this question in the comments. The question goes: if you had a superpower that best described your personality, what would it be?
Not the one that you want. Something that best describes who you are at this moment as you identify yourself as to be. Yep.
So, for an example, what I'll say is I almost have two. But for example, when I was younger, it was teleportation. Teleportation because I feel like especially when I was in news, I was all over the place. And in my brain, sometimes I would look back I don't know how I got here. And not in a physical sense, but I was doing this one thing and now I'm doing this other thing and I'm all over the place. So that power to translation, that was my personality, just bouncing all over the place, being very excitable. That communicates to me as teleportation. You know what I mean? So
I like that.
Dad, go for it if you had a superpower that best describes your personality.
All right. Okay. So it's already existing in me. I think the word would be mediator. That would be
Interesting.
Somewhere. I like to see bridges built. I genuinely don't like contentious atmospheres. I don't like it when people are going against each other. There's always a middle ground. Is that a mediator? Someone that finds? I think that's technically.
You said it intimidatingly.
Yeah, I could have thought you were saying meteor. It came with that presence, you know?
I think a mediator.
A mediator.
A mediator. I think if someone said that, you would be forced to come
Act
to the
right
table.
or else.
Could you imagine all the world's problems could be solved if all of a sudden?
Can someone be aggressively wholesome? Aggressive?
I think so.
Yeah, no, I get. I
That's
like it.
Superman.
That's see. This is why you're. I like. That's true. Aggressively wholesome. That's so very
Aggressively
true.
wholesome.
That's so
All right,
very
so
true.
yeah,
Now
so-
we're excited.
So that's me. That's me. Mediator. That's me. We'll come to the table and we'll break bread. Or else.
I like that, honestly. It's all coming together,
I like
whether they like it or not.
Trey.
One of the abilities that I said I would have had if I had a superpower would be electromagnetism. There's a broad range or a spectrum, if you will, that it encompasses from light to magnetism in itself, right? And I feel as if I like to be a very multifaceted person, want to be as useful as possible, and I like to, not so much just for the sake of accommodation, but I want to be able to help in any which way that I can, if there was a way for me to help. So in broadening myself in the various spectrums, whether it be RF or ultraviolet or whatever the case may be, I'm trying to be there for an individual.
He has the whole spectrum of the electromagnetic spectrum. You feel like all of your personalities can fit in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. See, I don't know. I ask that all the time. I ask that, and this is off topic, but do you like waffles? Because I genuinely believe if someone doesn't like waffles, you can't trust them.
Wait a minute. Okay.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Why?
Obvious. Waffles are fantastic.
Did you just say it's obvious?
It's obvious. It's
Okay.
I'll explain. I'll explain.
Please do.
I'm not saying you can't like any other breakfast food. I'm just saying if you do not like waffles, if waffles are something you don't like, you're evil.
Well,
Wow,
that's pretty
quickly.
heavy.
So then think about it this
But
way.
there are some people that aren't when you can't take wheat, glucose.
Gluten-free. There are gluten-free waffles.
Okay, but okay. So what if you prefer French toast over waffles?
You prefer it. It just means I have to like look over my shoulder a bit, but I could prefer it. Yeah.
Wow.
It's interesting.
Yeah. No. I think
So
because here's the thing. Waffles have everything that French toast and pancakes have. Because French toast has that like sometimes like that if you cooked right, that crusty kind of like right on the top, right at the top of it, like that light golden brown kind of toasty
right.
crunch to it. But on the inside, soft smooth. Waffles have that. Pancakes very rarely do they have that little crunch. They're just soft smooth pancakes, like right there. But also you still get that out of a waffle. Waffle is a pancake that came dressed well. You know what I mean?
wow.
Pancake that suit and tie. Suit and tie pancake.
Wow.
Suit and ties you associate with pancakes?
With waffles.
With waffles.
It's like if you get you can do the same thing. Get a pancake batter, put it in a waffle iron. That pancake's dressed, ready to go. Meet the town. Meet the mayor.
Wow. Wow. See, I'm thinking, waffles, French toast, and pancakes are all the same people.
You're objectively wrong.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Well, I'll have to accept that one.
That was a
Okay.
stance.
Well, that's definitely
And that's
a
the
stance.
conversation right there. Thank you very much
Those
for
of
joining
you
us.
Who do not enjoy waffles? My son is not as
I can't
trusting
trust
of
you. I'm
you,
sorry.
as he should be. So, do better.
Don't
America.
waffles have more holes in it than pancakes and French toast? So there should be like holes in logic.
I
to
understand.
those
I understand the
have-
confusion. They don't have more holes. They have more depth.
Wait a minute.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I got to call you on this. Literally, in language, when someone can't make a decision or switches up, they say that's waffling.
Yes, but for a waffle that is a waffle, they're not waffling. They're just being who they are. They're being the best version of themselves on both sides.
So, okay, this is getting scary in and of itself. All right, well,
I'm afraid to think about what I think about people that prefer flapjacks.
wow.
I don't.
Flapjacks.
Aren't flapjacks just big pancakes?
Yeah,
There's a difference between flapjacks and pancakes?
apparently. Yeah. Apparently a pancake's supposed to be like a fairly smaller diameter and a flapjack's supposed to be like a huge.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, we'll have to look that up. Someone's going to look that up for us. But anyway, I think our superpower is absolutely, as a team, we are deflectors. We can start on a topic and then jump around.
That's
to
very
another.
true. That is on me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like teleportation. Did you see how we got from one topic to another topic instantaneously?
Instantaneously. All right,
Teleportation.
I like
See?
Absolutely waffling.
Okay. Well, all right.
stand by it.
So how do we go on with the superheroes? So I've got superheroes from the '60s and '70s. Tell me a little bit about what excites you about Nightwing. Is it?
Yes.
Nightwing. I remember, but I forget. Go.
So I think I'm glad you asked that because as the youngest member of the family, in our immediate family, all that type of stuff, I think I very much related with the younger superheroes, being Robin, because Nightwing is the grown-up version of Robin, more or less.
Dick Grayson.
Dick Grayson, right. So I like Dick. Actually, that's very good. To be very specific, I like the character Dick Grayson. For comic book lovers, he was Batman's first sidekick known as Robin. He grows up. There's a whole arc. There's a whole bunch of stuff into it. We can get into it. But then he eventually dons the name Nightwing, which is funny enough, given to him by Superman. It's inspired by a character that Superman had liked. And
Really?
Yeah, it's the whole thing.
Superman gave Nightwing his name.
Yep.
Interesting.
There was Nightwing was another superhero on actually on Krypton that Clark Kal-El heard of and was one of his stories. So it was a superhero to him. I can get into the whole thing. But the main reason why is because I was one of the youngest members. I think I related with being a sidekick. And again, not in a self-disparaging way, but just by being, I felt like a sidekick, I think, to either of you guys.
Really?
Not in a bad way. Not in a bad. I think that's see that expression. A lot of
Yeah,
people
I
don't give
know.
sidekicks. People don't give sidekicks credit. But I think the thing is like I learned from you two. I learned from you two, and I didn't have to fit the mold, but there was a mold to be fit. But how do I do it my way? How do I do it in a way that feels like me? And going back to the last podcast thing we did, something new, feeling personality and curiosity. The thing with Batman's a very serious, stoic,
Right.
Robin smiling the whole way through. So it was his way of doing his, like, I want to be like Batman. How do you be like Batman without the trauma? And putting that on a 13-year-old kid, and this kid's like, hey, I want to do it, but I'm going to fight crime and very intentionally have a smile on my face the whole time doing it. And that was my take on kind of like, I want to be as engaging as doing as much as my dad can, but he does so much. That can be a lot. I want to be as thoughtful and as methodical as my brother, but that can be a lot. But my thing that I felt was like, I need to bring my own energy to do it, so I have to kind of do it with my own smile. And I related with the idea of feeling the pressure, and I'm not saying in a bad way, but the pressure of trying to meet people. Just if you take all the other stuff out of it, just straight up age, trying to, in somewhere, keep up with my older sibling and then my father, and the idea of it trying to keep up, I felt like, oh, okay, this is how I learned, this is how I do it. And Robin had that same kind of story arc. How do I keep up with someone like Batman? Growing up, but then he becomes Nightwing. He becomes a sole superhero, which I would argue is now better than Batman. Interesting. And I'm not saying I'm better, but I'm saying like that idea. I can go off about it. There's a lot of stuff. I like the. I'm talking. No. I'm just catching it. I like him. I like it a lot. It's also the acrobatics. He doesn't have a superpower per se, but putting himself in the field of people who are more powerful than him, and between charisma, wit, skill, and all that jazz, still coming up on top. Also, how I feel about it, like sometimes I like feeling kind of like the underdog, but not because I'm incapable, but maybe I can't get it done this way, but I can get it done this way of backflips and a smile and a charm.
All right. So this is his personality, Dick Grayson's personality, that you attribute more of your liking to Nightwing rather than all the other Robins that came after. So like Tim Drake is like not important. Jason Todd, not important.
I love all the Robins.
Right. Damian Wayne probably eats pancakes. I just want to make sure that that's what you're talking about.
What happened? No, the only person who eats pancakes is Damian Wayne.
I said that. He probably actually hates pancakes. Hates waffles.
He's an angry kid. He's an angry kid.
He's an angry kid. So he's probably a waffle eater?
He's probably a pancake eater.
Pancake eater?
I can see that.
But you didn't trust the waffle eater.
No.
He loves waffles.
Oh, the waffle. Okay, you know what? I'm not paying attention because you know what happened to me? I got stuck on you thinking that you're a sidekick.
I know you got.
I really felt bad.
But you feel like people give the sidekick thing and they think it's a bad title.
It is because it's literally a martial arts violent move to knock down an opponent. And as a father, I made my son feel like I sidekicked him.
I see what's
There's
happening.
no way. That was such a spin.
It was such a spin. That's what I
feel like the conversation would be wildly different. I don't understand. I felt like a sidekick.
I was on the
would
wrong
feel
track.
that I got kicked in the side. It's not an emotional feeling. That's just a physical pain. That's just
I'm still struggling because generally sidekicks, at least in my day, it wasn't a term of endearment. It was like an underling. It was someone.
And that's the thing I love about it. He has an underdog feel. Like that's the thing. Robin had the underdog thing. He had like he was wearing on Robin, but he was wearing super clothes and he had like the tidy whitey things. And then he becomes he did.
He didn't have any pants, and it was a questionable time for him.
I think, and again, if you read the comics, I think he's one of the coolest Robins, but he came from that underdog mentality, made his own personality. I would even go as far as some people didn't respect at time the idea of gymnastics even being a cool skill. Like sometimes gymnastics is seen as not super manly, things like that. And that being his main thing, I was like acrobatic. You know what I mean? He made very much a thing that was, to me, a underdog story, not as cool. Oh, he can't compare to Batman. Becomes his own character, coolest character in the world.
Wow. Okay, we may be going fast for some people who are, because I'm like, again, I enjoyed comics, growing up, but you guys have like exploded way past what my understanding of certain things.
For a fact.
I'm nerd-ish. I'm nerd adjacent. And I
nerd light for those.
He's the coolest one of us, the coolest one in the block.
So, in full disclosure, I used to like Richie Rich and Archie comics too. So that kind of takes my cool cards away, I think, to some people. I'm not sure. But in any case, go on. So please expound on this.
Well, I was actually going to throw it over to you because you are kind of like the origin of our interest. I'm aware that at one point in time, Daredevil was one of your favorite heroes as well. And Lex was talking about the acrobatics. I was thinking that was interesting because I believe no one really took acrobatics to be as important to heroes' moveset except for when Daredevil did it, because he utilized all of his senses, and it was almost explained, particularly through Miller's run, exactly how his senses were
Wait a minute, what did you just say? Miller's Run?
yeah,
Frank Miller
Frank Miller.
also
Oh,
wrote
okay,
Yes,
go ahead.
yes. A wonderful author of a lot of different comic books and novels, in fact. But I believe it was in his runs that he kind of like went into the depths of what his powers were able to do, right? And kind of like heightened the senses and heightened the experience of what those who might be jumping from rooftop to rooftop actually have to deal with or take account of, particularly for someone so as blind as Matt Murdock.
Can I jump in right here real quick? I don't know if we're allowed to do this, but we're talking, and I'm just going to disclose to the world we do editing later. So all the things that we're talking about, if we're not just working Nels to death, Nels is the let's give Nels a hand. He's fantastic man. Maybe you can use that machine. But anyway, Nels is he does our editing. He's our videographer, and it would be real cool if we could have some of those pictures of Nightwing or pop up somewhere.
Yeah.
That would be great. But I don't know if that
Hopefully
can.
on the camera, I will point right here. I think that's in the shot. But
But you want to pull it down? You can pull it down and actually bring it into the shot so we can see that's Nightwing.
Put it right in the front somewhere. There you go.
Also, I just want us to remember to let's say all those good
It's in
things.
3D.
This is various fields. We want you to like,
Share,
subscribe. If you like this conversation, he's moving to the side. See that? See,
Nels, look at that.
Nels just
Look
did
at
that for
that.
us. You
Appreciate
see,
that.
you thought we did that on our own. Nope, someone instructed us, and that's Nels, and we're very very proud to have him on our team. But Nels, real quick, say it out loud. What would be your? What do you think your superpower is?
I was thinking, I couldn't think.
Oh,
There's no talents.
Well, okay. What's the talent? Yeah.
Photography.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not my talent, my blessing.
See, I like that. But videographer.
You could make, but that's the thing. So then the trick is, how do you make videography a superpower?
Oh, I like
You know
that
what I
one.
mean? The
That's a fun
videographer-
game.
An investigative journalist can do like.
No, that's a
like-
snitch.
That's so good.
That's a snitch.
That's so good.
Well,
No,
listen,
that's perfect.
I think we actually have lived in a world that videography has actually become a superpower. How many police brutality issues?
You're saying capture? Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about Big Brother.
Yeah. Well,
there's two different-
I mean, there's Big Brother, but also there are people out in the street that have done great justice by bringing the video, the actual video, and there's no more. So yeah, I think. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Say again.
The Nathan.
Oh, the need.
George Floyd. George Floyd, yeah.
Getting that that's the thing. So getting that captured on video, and how it was displayed, especially during the pandemic and all
Right.
that other stuff. There was just with Black Lives Matter kind of thing. There was a different level of energy that came out of that.
Yeah, I mean it was necessary. But we're living in. You see, unfortunately, we live in an America that has been. You open up a door and I got to walk through it. We live in a country that has been culturally conditioned to believe certain things off the bat, and so therefore, people, African American folks, have been given unfortunately the overarching second class citizen kind of marginalization, and so what happens is when you speak a truth. Sometimes it's like, you're exaggerating and this and that. So, unfortunately, however you want to look at it, the video displayed that which was true, and that truth, has gone without a great deal of display. I suggest to you that on Bloody Sunday, had it not been televised when Martin Luther King and they were marching over the bridge, to be met and pummeled by police officers and police dogs, had that not been captured by a videographer, say it again?
There was a little girl.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know
yeah.
that.
Oh, you talking about for George Floyd? Yeah, George Floyd.
yeah.
Yeah, but absolutely. So, a little girl becomes a powerful person, and back in the day when going over the bridge, and I'm so sorry, I can't remember the name of the bridge. It's escaping me. But going over the bridge, had that not been videotaped, I would suggest to you that the civil rights movement would not have moved as quickly as it did, and it was that it got a chance to. So I maintain, Nels, you might have had the greatest superpower in this room right now. So thank you so much for being a part of that legacy.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. And here's another thing. I think we can, even though I would say this, like the idea of these can be two different topics, but this is actually the reason why I like asking that question based off your personality, because to me, it's also a thing where whatever doubt someone can have in themselves, et cetera, seeing yourself and then calling a version of yourself in your personality and then associating that with being a superpower. In Nelson's case, associating that skill being a superpower is something that I feel like should be treated the same way.
Indeed.
And then the idea of everything else around George Floyd, around civil rights, all that jazz, it's the idea of each individual member without the media personification of superpowers. Each person was a hero in their own right. But that's another thing I like about superheroes, and is talking about justice, talking about truth. And it's interesting because in a lot of comics and a lot of things Marvel DC, you're going against villains. You're going against like a very stereotypical, someone's going to have a knife and get someone's person, and you can punch that problem in the face. Right? That's something you can do. It's harder to do that in your real life with whatever problems or villains, quote unquote, you have in your life, whatever enemies or you have in life, and not people, but the things that are attacking you. It's harder to do that. But also, I think self-associating one as a superhero, not in a braggadocious way, not in a pompous way, but being, I have the power to stop this. I have in yourself, and I think that's what a lot of comics did for me as a kid. Was just like associating myself with a superhero, having that moral code in the background, power versus responsibility. Everybody knows really can hit, especially if you're a nerd like me. But once you get it, you're like, oh, okay, these are the ways I can be a hero in my own life. These are the ways I can take this comic book, quote unquote, fictional thing and apply it in this way. I have no doubts that helped me a lot with my confidence and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
And even with that, like, even if you're not actively in the field doing this out of the third for the community, at least the comic books themselves kind of help bring the conversation into another's household, right? Because I know, like, you were talking about the young girl that was videoing George Floyd, right? But, like, even back in the day, we had comic books kind of represent the civil rights movement with the X-Men even, right? And then even with the introduction of Black Panther and Luke Cage, right? Coming into a time, and I think Luke Cage came out even almost at the same exact time as George Floyd issues as well, because of all the Disney Plus.
You're talking about Netflix.
That's right. Right. And it came out at such a pivotal time that kind of like start that conversation once again.
Interesting.
Right? All right. So it's comic books themselves and superheroes themselves, even though they may not have all the answers, they often represent like that ideal of what a person ought to be, right? And the conversation, even though you may agree with it or disagree with it, can still be invited into the household in a way that is unambiguous, or rather, you don't have a necessary face to blame in hearing it. Like, oh, I heard this quote from Batman, Superman. Who are you going to blame from hearing it from, right? You're hearing a conversation, you're internalizing it within yourself, all right? And then not necessarily becoming the hero that you are reading, but at least understanding the ways and the rights of what a hero ought to be in the world you're reading, and probably applying it to the world that you're living in. Right. You know?
I found what you say very interesting, because first of all, if we're able to do these in the edit, but we want to give a shout out to the late great Stan Lee,
Absolutely,
who was when I was a kid, he actually one of his tenets was to try to help young people to read more. So by design, things like the X-Men and the more spacey characters, which I didn't. I kind of fell off with, like, maybe not. Who's another galaxy-oriented
Silver Surfer.
No. It was like the X-Men. What's another?
Fantastic Four.
That's some Fantastic Four. There's another one I'm looking at. But anyway, those who do the spacey things, the language was purposefully written with a higher grade level of reading, as opposed to, I kind of gravitated to Spider-Man, which was my favorite. But he was more comical, more relatable to me, because he was from Queens. I mean, I didn't go to Queens till later, but for whatever reason, I related. However, when you mentioned that Luke Cage on Netflix was pivotal, I see your pivotal, and Raise You always has been pivotal,
right?
Because in the 60s, both Black Panther and Luke Cage were introduced within the comic world at a time where African American characters were almost non-existent.
Right.
You know, and in retrospect, if you look at old comics of Luke Cage, some could even question, you know, his representation not being stereotypical.
To add to that real quick, and this is just for other people to get out just the superpowers thing, but just again the comics in general. Character Franklin from Charlie Brown.
Okay, yeah.
He's getting a TV show on Apple Plus.
Yeah.
And
Isn't that something?
And just I'll show you the trailer. It's actually cool. But like, just to show the representation and like, it's always. I think it's always to be said that representation is important. But I think the idea is also what medium is also important, because it's like you capture different audiences and being able to be like a young black kid and being able to see yourself as a superhero. Like you can look at you can like Captain America and like Tony Stark, but something that's crazy to me, one of my favorite superheroes also, Miles Morales. One of the greatest animated films. There's 2 animated films out right now. I was already a comic book fan, but it took me a minute to see people that look like me on screen in film. There are going to be young kids, 7, 8, who are black, who can look up Miles, and that would be their favorite superhero from the jump.
Oh man, we really like this topic.
Yeah.
We could actually do a part 2 of this.
We
man.
absolutely
I
can.
think, you know, I don't know how we do that, but we got 5 minutes left. Man, I really have more to say, and
Right.
you know, we got 5 minutes. I do want to. I'm going to burst if I don't say this. I remember being very jealous of a young kid in my church who got a chance to see the Black Panther when it first came out, and he was able to go, "Yay, Black Panther!" And I realized that through my life as a child, I was unable to do that. I was unable to see a character that looked like me on full display, full, you know, just beautiful. And when I say jealous, I'm saying I'm glad he was blessed to see that. So representation for our kids, and it's important to have, you know, a hero that looks like you.
Yeah.
You know, because I can't tell you how many Halloweens I had to put a mask on with a rubber band behind it, and the front of the mask did not look like me at all. The hair didn't look like me. I had to pretend to pretend. But anyway, not to get all that heavy, but what do you guys think? We think we're gonna pick this up again?
I would love to.
Superheroes?
With a little last thing I want to throw, but like with a little last thing, and that's why I like superhero, super comic, all that kind of stuff, because like I think it's one of those things that can be dismissed as like, oh, okay, it's just an art, it's just like a medium, kind of those if you don't think about it. But for me, getting into all the topics we talk about, that can all be represented right in comics,
Right.
And just I think you said it, the ideal of a superhero is always appealing to me.
Right.
And the ideal of like, chasing and going back to the Robin thing for half a second, it's not that I just feel like a psychic's not a bad thing, but he was chasing ideal. The ideal he was chasing was that version of Batman. But for some reason, I think it's even better to always consistently chase an ideal than it is to be like, I've made it. I think sometimes consistently chasing something that feels so beyond you, you're always gonna follow and you're always gonna get closer and closer is something that I don't know. I could talk about all day. But
This conversation is going to pick up. Any other last thoughts before we go?
Honestly, I think you guys wrapped it up just swimmingly. Yeah, the idea of being a superhero and that ever pursuit of, and not even just happiness, but I guess like in settling with yourself and trying to, like, because every hero that we see in these panels always come with a different ideal in mind or whatever that drives them, that's behind them, right? But whatever they're seeking to be a perfect idealized world is a conversation that we can bring into the household and figure out whether or not that would actually work for us, or you know. But yeah.
Excellent. Well, this has been Various Fields. Please like,
Comment.
subscribe, share. Someone say it the right way.
No, there's
We're
no
gonna
right
get-
way.
I'm gonna
Like,
get-
comment, share, subscribe, retweet, throw it on the internet.
Push all the buttons.
Put it on
Push all the buttons.
Twitch.
Push all the buttons.
Push all the buttons.
If you like this conversation, eventually it's going to be up in a place where you can make some comments to it. We'd love it. We're going to pick up this conversation. I believe we agree.
I'd love to.
Yeah, I'd love
So
that.
we want to thank Nels. We want to thank all the people here at Only Way Out Studios for helping to produce the Various Fields program. And we plan to be back. And once again, I tell you guys, I love you guys. I
love you too,
Pops.
And we look forward to having you guys come on back to Various Fields.
Everyone out there, you're a superhero.
You're a superhero.